Get on in here, everybody. Got the wrong microphone on. Give me a second. Come on in. Yep. Forgot to put on lipstick too. Got it here. That's a little better. Anyway, coming into the room, I only have a half a cup of tea because I tripped and fell. Well, I really didn't fall, but I tripped and my tea went I caught it though. But it's a good thing I'm surrounded by Fly Lady tools because I have dish towels, I have a mop, I have purple rags, everything's right here, and I just cleaned it up lickety split, just like that. So everybody grab your tea. It's time for our wonderful cup of tea. Tea with friends, get in here. Come on in. Come on in. As soon as we get a couple hundred people in here, we will draw a topic out of our little wise old owl. Yep. We'll get it out of our owl. I've been, this morning, if you didn't watch this morning's video, it's 2 videos. The first one is about being prepared for this storm. It's just turned into a category 3, like I told you it would. And calling for a lot of rain. They don't really know where it's going to go, but it's going to slow down and it's going to get stronger. So those of you who are in Florida, be prepared. Be prepared. So here's to being prepared, taking care of business, and cleaning up messes as they happen, because I just cleaned my mess up. Just like that. Except I got a little wet on my table there. Anyway, so we got almost, let's see what we got here. I got one. So I'm going to reset everything. Teapot comes forward. Ready for the next tomorrow. Ready for tomorrow. Oh, this is a long one. Being late can be due to clutter and not being able to find what you need to get ready. You know, what was it, the rabbit that was on, I never saw the movie, never read the book, but Alice in Wonderland. I'm late for a very important date. But guess what? You start to go out the door and you can't find your keys. You know why you can't find your keys? Because you don't have your keys on a leash. You need a leash for your keys. That way you can hang them up where you need to have them, ready to go. You know, clutter stands in our way. Clutter is standing in our way. We're, as Granny used to say, messing and gumming with clutter. Clutter. And you're not able to find what you need to get dressed in the morning. How many of you have had to iron something in the morning before you leave for work? You have to drag out the ironing board and you have to iron something. This is what our before bed routine is all about. That starts on Sunday. Our before bed routine really starts on Saturday night. Okay, let's think about this. You're getting ready for church. We were always late to church, and nothing ever upset. I've never been embarrassed about anything, except coming into church late. I hated that. I'd rather sit in the nursery than come into church late. So Do you know why we couldn't get to church on time? Let me tell you. Most of the time, the driver of the car overslept, which was Mother. And she was rushing around, trying to get ready. Nothing had been set on a launch pad. Nothing was ready to go. And here we didn't leave the house until 9:30, and church started at 9:30. We didn't leave the house, and it took us 10 minutes to drive to town. So we're automatically to church late. Sometimes we would get there just as we were breaking and going to Sunday school class, so nobody even knew we were late. But it was still embarrassing as a adolescent, young teenager, 13, 14. It was a pain. It was a pain. And it's because we didn't have everything ready to go. So what do you need to go to church on Sunday? You need your dress shoes. You get up in the morning and you get dressed. Some people don't like to get dressed to the last minute because they don't want to mess their clothes up. But guess what you can do? Same thing for school. Get the children dressed and then put the old t-shirt on top of their clothes. And then they can have breakfast. You don't want to go to church and your stomach growling, especially little kids. And when they're hungry, they're uncomfortable. So you got to feed the babies. You got to feed the babies. So put everything on the launch pad that you got to have. Your Sunday school book, your Bible, something for the coloring book or something for the children to keep them occupied. Maybe you've got a tote bag that's just for taking to church for the kids to keep them occupied. They need to learn how to act in church. And sometimes giving them something to play with quietly, like a coloring book or something, is a good thing. What you need your Bible, all this, put it on your launch pad. Getting ready to go to work in the morning. You need your briefcase. If you have to take your computer to work with you. If you have your lunch you have to take. If the kids, they might need a jacket first thing in the morning to catch the bus. Justin used to have to catch the bus at 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 in the morning. He had to be ready to go by 7. I got him up at 6 o'clock. He had breakfast at 6:30. He watched the weather. He was happy. And then he started waiting for the bus at the back door at 10 till 7. Everything ready to go. He had his launch pad ready. Everything ready to go. He's a born organized child. But I learned from him. You have everything you need ready to go. Put it together the night before. That's why we have a before bed routine. It's the most important routine of your day. The most important routine of your day. So if you get up 15 minutes before the flow of the family, you don't have to be late ever again. And then you have to learn how to factor in a little grace period. You got that? What's grace period? Well, Robert used to have this when he drove to court every day. Some of his drives were an hour and 20 minutes. He had 2 courthouses that were an hour and 20 minutes. One direction and one another direction. And he always factored in time to stop and have breakfast. He had these different places he liked to have breakfast on the way. There toward the end of his career of being a judge, he would eat breakfast at home. And when he retired, he broke our alarm clock because he was never ever going to use an alarm again. So, he factored in a grace period. He knew how long it took him to eat breakfast. He knew how long it took him to drive. And so he would factor in 15 extra minutes. Yep. 15 extra minutes to get to where he was going. And this would help him not be late to court. Now, this is, the time before cell phones. And he would Because if he didn't show up to court, the posse got called. Literally, the deputies got called to look for him because he had a tough job. So those extra 15 minutes. So how long does it take you to drive to work? Figure out what time you need to leave the house in the morning, and then back it up another 10-15 minutes to give you a little grace period. Because if you show up to work early, or the kids show up to school early, the people around them and you are going to faint, because it's never happened in your lifetime. Your before bed routine can change that. It can change it. So, getting things ready to go, so you just grab it and go, and you have a checklist. Get a picture frame that you don't have anything, just put a pretty piece of paper behind it and write out what needs to be on your launchpad, so that when you walk out the door, you can check to see everything's in there. And you'll get so used to putting things on your launchpad that you won't even realize you have done it. This is how important this habit is. It is going to change your life forever when you get used to doing a launchpad and your before bed routine. Getting your clothes ready. Now, there's some tips and tricks that you can do when you do the laundry. You can put whole outfits together, especially for the children and for you. Everything from hair bows to socks and underwear, with just fold it all up in their clothes. And they don't even have to think about hunting for clean underwear, because you've already put it together. They take it off as one outfit, put it back together when you do the laundry as one outfit. Roll it up. Lay the little pants out, lay the little shirts out, put their socks and underwear in the middle, and just roll it up and put it in their drawer. You're going to be amazed at what a difference this one habit can save you in the morning. The time it can save you, because you're thinking about tomorrow the night before. What can you do today to make tomorrow easier? If you're not running around and screaming at your kids in the morning, I want you to celebrate, because this is one of the rewards you get from having a before bed routine. You're not yelling at your babies before they go to school. You're giving them love and cuddle time, and maybe you even got time to read them a book in the morning and to have a morning devotional. Imagine taking the time to do that and not being a raving lunatic in the morning because you don't know where anything is. There's nothing worse than looking for clean underwear in the morning. There's nothing worse. Nothing says I love you like clean underwear in your children's drawers. Drawers in the drawers. Put the drawers in the drawers. So here's to clean underwear. Here's to having our laundry done and a whole week's worth of clothes done up for the children. Put it all together. It's the weekend now. You can do this. You can do this. And then your children aren't going to be embarrassed being late for school. You're not going to get in trouble for having them late for school. You know, I noticed something weird this week. And for those of you who are homeschooling parents, I'm going to say this is something that I've noticed, and I said something to Lee Ann about it the other day. You know, when our kids go off to their first day of kindergarten or first grade, we have to take this picture of them, and, you know, Pinterest is covered up and Facebook is covered up with little signs that say the first day of first grade. Homeschoolers don't make those pictures. And I think that's sad. So if you're a homeschooling parent and you haven't made a picture of your first day of school, I want you to do that the next time school starts. I want everybody to get dressed in their little uniforms for school, because children need to be dressed for school. They need to have their shoes on. You need to have your shoes on. And if you need to, I want you to walk outside with the children, walk around the house if you have to, or around the block, and then walk into the house. Make your first day of school pictures and get started with your day. You need a transition time for starting school. So that grace period that Robert used to have, it paid off one time. He had a flat tire on the way to court, and he was able to change a flat tire and get back on the road. So I want to see all your pictures of the first day of school for your children, whether they're homeschooled or whether they go to public school or private school. I don't care. Let's see those pictures. Post them on our Facebook page. Leah, start a thread. Start it with Mikey's first day of school. And we can make it special. But homeschoolers don't make the pictures. I hardly ever see a homeschool picture for the first day of school. So here's to your before bed routine. Getting your clothes all laid out, dressed and ready to go. And you need to be dressed and ready to go too. Dressed to lace up shoes before the kids get out of bed. Yep, I know you don't like that, but this is what's going to make the difference. You lay your clothes out the night before. The minute you get up, you get dressed. And then, what's the Fly Lady page called? You're on it watching this video. I'm telling you, I think we got some trolls here. So here's to not being late anymore. Let's not be late. Let's commit to not being late. That's the one thing Robert loves about me. I think about timetables. I think about times and how are we going to get there? It takes us 45 minutes to get to Asheville. We like to plan on an hour. It takes me 30 minutes to get to my hairdresser's appointment. So I plan on 45 minutes. If I pick up Leanne, we're not flylady.com, it's flylady.net. If I pick up Leanne, I add another 15 minutes in. So I plan an hour to pick her up if she goes with me. I have had to do that this week and last month when I got my hair cut. So plan that little grace period in. Plan it. Plan the grace period, and then you're not stressed out. Even though my hairdresser doesn't mind if I'm a little late, she tells me she doesn't want me early. But I don't want to feel the stress. Do you know most accidents happen when you're running late? So don't do this to yourself. Don't do it anymore. Stop it. Nip it in the bud right now. Make the mindful commitment that you're not going to be late ever again, unless it is an emergency. And not everything is an emergency. You know, you lost your homework. It's because it wasn't on launchpad. When you get through with your homework, put it on the launchpad. Teach your children about putting it on the launchpad. Leanne has a launchpad for me at her house right this minute. I guarantee it. It's right by her front door. She puts things right there that I have let her borrow to get started in her new home. Because she moved here, she hardly had anything with her. And as she's running across it, she's putting it on a launch pad for me. And guess what? We go out to the car with a bag full of stuff. But you can have your own launch pad. And it needs to be right where you leave the house every morning, or right where your children leave the house. So folks, here's to a lovely cup of tea with my friends, and me being on my soapbox. Leanne was on her soapbox today too. She was answering a bunch of questions if you hadn't listened to, and I couldn't find her little video she did for our little thing we're starting September the 9th, where we join her little group for the hot melt challenge. She says she's making sprouts for me. You know, I've never eaten a broccoli sprout before. She said I bought her the sprouter, so go figure. Oh well. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. If you're in Florida, Southern Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, I want you to be watching this storm. Go to Mike's weather page on Facebook at 8:30 every night. He tells you every morning and every night. He talks to you twice a day about this storm. You got to be prepared. They're calling for 35 inches of rain. 35 inches of rain. It's not biblical proportions, but it's close. It didn't rain, it rained 40 days and 40 nights. 35 inches of rain is phenomenal. And even flat Florida will flood. And there's a king tide then. New moon, king tide. I love you all. I will see you tomorrow, and we'll talk about the storm. We'll talk about being prepared. But commit to not being late anymore. You can change this attitude. I don't like to be late. It annoys me to be late. It's the only time I ever get embarrassed. See you later. Bye.